What's up guys, Casey here with the Coyote Works channel. I got an awesome adventure video for you, or at least I thought it was an awesome adventure. I hope you guys enjoy it. But real quick before we get into the adventure, a couple of business items to get out of the way. Number one, there is a PayPal donate link in the description of this video down below for those of you that would like to make a monetary contribution to my channel. The second thing is I do have Coyote Works merchandise. It is available for sale on the Lolo Overland website. That's lolo4wd.com. So with that out of the way, let me show you guys the adventure. All right, we just grabbed coffee at Primeville Coffee Company back there behind me. Did a radio check, got Austin here, and we're gonna hit the road. We have about an hour on pavement before we'll head off road and back into the country that we're gonna explore. All right, we are on the road, rolling out of Primeville, Oregon, headed out for the southeastern desert. All right, we are off the pavement, guys. Well, I've got my buddy Austin in tow, and we are off on another overland adventure. What's on tap for today is we're heading into an area where there's actually a whole bunch of historical activity that happened in here. This was a pretty populated area back around the Homestead times. Interestingly enough, it looks absolutely barren and desolate today, so I always find this area really fascinating because of how empty it looks now. But when you really get off the road and on the ground out here, all of the activity that you see out here. So we're going to go by probably a half a dozen or so different historic sites on this trip. There's one spot where I found an old well last winter. There was a little bit of snow on the ground, so I didn't really have a chance to look around it. So that's one of the spots I really want to go back, scope out, do some gridding back and forth, and see what is actually there. I suspect it was probably a homestead site. Other than that, just enjoy a weekend out here, cooling off in the evenings, but still pretty warm in the days, so it should be a pretty awesome trip. So I got Austin and I are running these handheld Baofangs back here. We're running on a MERS channel, so we don't use them a lot, but it's nice to have some kind of communication between vehicles. So I get this question a lot. Probably hams and GMRS is what we use the most, just depending on what radios we all have in common. Wow, it is a dusty mess here, but we're gonna stop and check out this first old homestead a little bit. Hey Austin, we're just gonna pause here real quick and jump out and check out this homestead down here on the right. You good with that?
Copy that, I'll shut her down.
Oh yeah, right over here. Look at all these boards in here. Yeah, see, this has definitely been used in more modern times too. I mean, the structure's really old, obviously. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna go in here and check this out, but this has definitely been used a little bit more in modern times. I think it was used as a cow camp. This was originally one of this Bill Brown ran horses out here and had a lot of. This area was his range, and this was, for a while, one of his cow camps.
Oh, duck.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Wow. Yeah, I would say, judging by the vintage of the beds and the furniture in here, that this was maybe used up into like the 60s off and on, but it would have been just, you know, like a ranch hand stayed out here or something like that. But then maybe off and on, like some of that canned food there is a little newer. When do you think that's from?
I mean, this Campbell's is a pretty recent, like,
Uh-huh.
so I don't know. That looks like 80s?
Yeah.
The 70s, late 70s to the 80s.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they've definitely re-sided this, at least this portion of it.
And the window too.
Yep.
Here.
But this section, the next section here, like that looks original. That's the old original board and bat.
Yeah.
Outhouse,
Yeah.
tipped on its side.
Yeah.
All right, well that was pretty cool. I actually really enjoyed checking out that homestead. It's been a while since I've been there. So this is a dusty mother out here. It's just that time of year. Right now we're in October and this is literally the driest time of year, but the soil is just so dry that right now it's just that moon dust material. So that was cool seeing that that homestead. That was at Dominic Well. That was initially one of Bill Brown's horse camps there. One of his, what they call a cow camp or a horse camp, basically a remote camp where his riders who were keeping watch over his herds of livestock would stay. So the next stop we're going to make is at a well that I stumbled across out here about a year ago. And it's been on my list to want to get back to because when I originally located it, it was in the middle of the winter and there was snow on the ground. So I didn't have an opportunity to look around and really get a feel for what was at it. So what I'm hoping is that Austin and I can kind of grid it on this trip and really figure out what was going on there. Why is that well there? What did it serve? Was there a homestead there? Really looking forward to just kind of gridding the area and figuring that out. Pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a cool top.
So we just stopped here real quick where this old road takes off to scope it out, and Austin actually found a couple of things, a couple of old style tin cans, and then I found an old whiskey bottle. So that tells us it's just more evidence to confirm that we are in fact on the old historic road here. So we're just going to peek around right here by this intersection a little bit, see if we find anything else. And then if we don't, we're going to venture on a little bit further and we'll pick this road up again a little ways further down it. Yeah, here you can kind of see the road a little bit better taking off out through there. Not much of anything out here now, is there? No. All right, well, another mysterious little spot to mark on the map, and maybe given her enough time, she'll unlock her secrets to me. But for now, really all we could determine is there's some old china there, some old Depression era glass, some old boards, so we know there was something going on there, but we just couldn't find enough to figure out exactly what. So she'll keep her secrets for a bit longer. We've seen this pretty interesting looking rock wall that we've been driving along next to. So we're going to jump out and see if we can figure out what it is. I'm not sure if it was rocks that they cleared out of the way for the road, but see how it takes off over here? It almost seems like maybe it was part of some kind of a fence or an enclosure.
Yeah, that's interesting because it's on both sides.
Huh. Right. And then this kind of takes off. It's so amazing to me, Austin, how much, like you look out across this country and it just looks absolutely desolate. But like back in the Homestead era, how much stuff was actually going on here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like this was a tremendous amount of work, like just the sheer, but what it took to stack all of those rocks by hand. I mean, that was probably years worth of work for a couple of people. This is a little bit of an interesting spot right here. We're going through this old dry lake and it probably even back during those moisture years that the homesteaders were moving into this area out here, it probably even still had a little water in it. And we're relatively close to where that well is, so my guess would be the water table then was high enough that they were able to hand dig that well, get down to a decent water source, and then here at this dry lake, what's now a dry lake that would have had water in it then, would have been a good place for their cattle to have water or whatever kind of stock they were running out here. So it's interesting. At first glance, it didn't seem like a very good place to settle, but when you think about the cumulative effect of several moister years, this actually wouldn't have been too bad out here. There would have been some resources. We were just driving along and spotted some cans out the side of the window, so I think we're getting close to the spot where this old well was. And this is cool because I couldn't see any of this stuff when I was here in the wintertime. All of this would have been covered by snow. So we're going to walk around and see if we can figure out what's going on, but it's a good sign to find a can with no bullet hole in it. Oh yeah, is this where you were running into the China?
Yeah, China's behind you a little bit. But here's some glass.
Old depression glass?
Yeah, some more of it here.
Pretty good rock wall right here.
Yeah.
I see some other stuff over there.
Yeah, I was just over that rock. There's quite a bit of this purple glass.
Oh, another
It looks like a
another
belt
part of a
buckle or
buckle.
something?
Yeah. Yeah, that's old glass. Old purple stuff. Look at that bubble in it.
I know, I saw.
Old impurity.
Uh-huh. Yes,
Oh, and this is melted. So I bet this homestead burned down. Oh yeah, okay, so I see what you're talking about. Yeah, the wall is more like a perimeter.
Oh, is this the
Oh, there's the well. Okay.
Wow. Looking at the sun glare, it's like, that looks like it was like a ladder, yeah?
Yeah. It's just crazy to think
This is
they
huge.
dug this in this rocky soil by hand. Look at the old, they chinked it in with that old kind of mortar that's deteriorating, but the workmanship in that. All right, well, I've got these clearly man-made piles of rock right here, but so far I haven't been able to find anything like that I'm convinced is the foundation of the homestead or the site of the actual homestead, but it's pretty cool. A lot of trash, not very many people, I mean a lot of old homestead era trash. Not very many people have been to this site. There's no modern trash here. And there's a lot of complete cans and buckets that don't have any bullet holes in them. So we're going to keep walking around, but I've been kind of combing back and forth this area over here for a while. I'm going to go check in with Austin and see if he found anything interesting over his direction. We kind of divided and conquered, so we'll see what he came up with. All right, so it'll never show up on camera, but I'm pretty convinced we found the site of the homestead and it burned because there's all kinds of little nails in here, little small pieces of broken glass. We found some small pieces of like kitchen glass, broken furniture items, and then here is a really cool old pan that would have had a wooden handle on it. So some old homesteader, this was an old steel pan that some old homesteader probably fried up their salt pork with a little bit of hardtack. Boy, I tell you, these are some massive old juniper trees over here, though. I'm pretty sure a Native American sat down underneath this tree at one point. Holy smokes. What do you think it is? Well, it could just be as simple as them clearing this field out here.
Yeah.
So I don't know for sure, but I believe these piles of rocks out here in this area were just where the homesteaders cleared the rock out of this area so they could a little more effectively farm it. But check out that juniper tree that Austin's standing over by.
Look at that.
Dear Lord. That thing's 8 feet across.
Yeah.
Huge. So it is now getting late in the day. We're just going along a really cool section of the old wagon road here too, where it's really prominent. All right, well, this is crazy. Well, we just we saw this barrel stay, jumped out of the rigs and stumbled across it. Turns out there is actually a homestead here. They're still bored, so we're going to take a quick look at it. I saw some big pieces of metal over here, huh?
Yeah.
So Austin picked up this it's the base of an old jar, but what's cool about it is it says it has a date on it, June 9th, 1903. And then it says it's the Kerr Glass Manufacturing Company, Sand Springs, Oklahoma. I always think that's super cool when there's some writing on something that gives you an idea of when it was made and where it came from. All kinds of cans over here. So I think right where I'm standing was a structure, because for a couple of reasons. One, because the root cellar right here was under part of the structure, I believe. And two, there's some sections of the perimeter wall foundation right here. Foundation, root cellar, more foundation. Such a cool little bonus finding this one. This is another completely new site that wasn't on my radar at all. Very significant homestead site here. We're not completely done surveying it. What do you got over there, Austin?
Like 100 cans right here.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Holy smokes. Okay, there's the can dump.
A lot of glass in here too.
All right, so next on our agenda is actually going to be to try to start looking for a campsite. It's getting to be about 4:30 or so in the afternoon, and it could be a while before we come to a spot. So we're kind of going through a little bit of a no man's land area here. So I'm going to do a little map recon and try to get us back into an area that I've been wanting to check out for a while. It's got some nice old growth juniper, and I've never had a chance to really look around in there, but I'm guessing maybe there's going to be some cool history. So we'll just start working our way that direction, and if we come across anything interesting in the meantime, we'll show you guys. All right, it's 5 o'clock, so we got about maybe 2.5 hours of light left, and I'm guessing we're about 45 minutes from the area where I'm hoping to camp. So with a little luck, I think we're going to roll into camp well before dark tonight. which will be actually decently unique for Coyote Works. Alright, look at this, guys. We rolled into camp and it is well before dark. So I'm going to get my rooftop tent stood up really quick. I'm using the Prototype Evolution Series rooftop tent from Free Spirit Recreation. These things are set for release this fall. I've been using it for about 2 months now. Tonight will be, I think, like my 11th night in it or something. And so far, man, I'm really liking this one. It's really easy to set up, so I'll show you guys how that works. But first, my Jeep's not quite level, so I'm going to level it up with the bottle jack. So quick tip for you guys that run rooftop tents, man. Your bottle jack, which I always carry a bottle jack with me. I've gone away from the handyman jack years ago. You can ask me why in the comments below, but a bottle jack on one corner is like the perfect thing to level up your rig. Another quick tip is a broom. Just knock all the dust off the back, like especially this time of year when everything is dusty. So this tent is probably the easiest one yet to set up. I just literally have these flatches that I just walk around the Jeep and undo. Once I have the 6 latches undone, so I'll just come up here to the corner and lift. And once I get it up to a certain height, the gas struts take over. Now I'll walk around the other side and push that side up. Now, because I have some weight on the top, I have one more step that I do, and that is I have this pole that is going to support the weight, the extra weight that's up on the rack, so I don't have to empty the rack off. So I just use the telescoping hiking pole, and that just saves me the step of taking the stuff that's heavy off of the rack. So one thing I use is I use this pretty cush climate inflatable pillow. It has a little bit of padding on it that makes it, number one, not slick, and number two, so it doesn't build up condensation and keep that condensation against my skin. Alright, so we each have our community sleep areas set up, or our individual sleep areas set up. Now we're going to kind of set the community cooking area up, and sounds like Austin's got her back for dinner, huh?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's all I have. I was just telling Austin, all I have with me on this trip is Mountain House meals. I didn't go by the grocery store or anything, so, which I'm perfectly content with.
Yeah. But when in Rome.
This is just a really cool spot in here. I really like these groves of old growth junipers like this. These juniper trees have seen the natives, they've seen the homesteaders, they've maybe even seen the early cavalry explorers of this country. I always think about how neat it would be if these trees could tell the stories of everything that they've seen. So what do you got cooking up over there?
So I've got steak, yellow, red, and green bell pepper, onion, and then brown rice and quinoa, kind of a mix. I've got a full other kebab over there, so when this is done, we'll just kind of disperse it, and then I'll make up that other one too. You're using that little pan we found earlier, right?
Definitely. The Homestead pan.
Yeah. So if there was another state you would love to travel to explore, what state would that be?
Probably Nevada.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think Nevada's got some pretty remote country still. Yeah, if you want to just toss whatever will fit in here.
You got a big pan.
That's perfect.
Big pan.
I can't imagine that I would eat any more than that.
No?
Austin,
No? All right.
You have enough burners to get the quinoa and rice going too? Yep. No, this is perfect, man. Really nice. This is literally one of my favorite times of day.
Yeah. What'd you have?
The quinoa and rice
Yeah,
mix.
yeah.
It's good, nice flavor to it. I've been rocking these front runner chairs mainly because they're just so small and they pack.
Yeah.
But they're surprisingly comfortable for
Yeah.
as minimalistic as they are. Not like the lap of luxury like that. But.
Right, oh yeah. Well, I mean, look at this. This pocket here is a cooler. Like it's cooler material?
Like it's insulated?
Yeah, it's insulated, thank you. So like, imagine you could put beer or something in there.
That's pretty badass. It's a built-in koozie.
Yeah, right, exactly. I had my old 95 Chevy Blazer. I would just sleep in the back of it. You just throw a bunch of blankets and pillow and just grab my little food tote and go out.
Yeah, I used to have this big, like, military sea bag thing, and inside that, I had a cot, a sleeping pad, a sleeping bag, and
was
like
that ever on one of your videos?
Pillow. I think I did.
One of your old ones, right?
I think I did throw that in. Well, when I first got this Jeep, before I had anything bolted on it, I think I did a camping trip. It's called something like Camping Old School or something like that.
Yeah, I remember that video.
I mean, that duffel bag sits in my garage. It's all packed the same way I used to use it when I used to go out in my 78 Chevy short wide box pickup truck.
Nice.
And yeah, it's amazing how many people do message me and they'll say, oh, they're getting 35s and they're getting a lift kit and they can't wait to get all of that stuff done so they can go out. And one thing that I always think about is like there's a learning curve to doing this, and like you're going to go through the learning curve regardless of how much gear you do or don't have, right? Like that doesn't affect it. So like I always think like, and usually what happens is whatever gear you start out with is not going to be all of the same gear you're going to be using 2 years later. Like you're going to sort of, it's a good place to start. Like you can watch videos, get suggestions, do some research, and come up with a pretty good place to start. But ultimately, just through the process of getting out and doing it, you're going to sort of find that combination that works for you.
What doesn't.
Oh, what's up, guys? Well, I'm just getting settled into my rooftop tent for the night. That temperature is actually dropping pretty fast out there, so it'll be interesting to see it. It was pretty warm during the day today, but it could actually frost tonight, so curious to see how that goes. That is one thing about the desert country out here like this. It was probably 83, 84 degrees or something at the high point today, and tonight it could get down to 35, maybe even hit freezing like 32-ish or something. And so that's a huge differential between the high daytime temperature and the low nighttime temperature. So that is something that you always have to be prepared for out in this high desert country, especially in the shoulder seasons like the spring and the fall. So all right, guys, got myself cleaned up a little bit. Got all of my supplies organized and everything for the night. One thing that I like to do is keep several things handy. Flashlight, keep a pistol handy, my phone, bottle of water, an empty bottle. You guys can guess what that's for. Definitely saves me a trip outside of the rooftop tent in the middle of the night. So with that said, I'm going to get some sleep, guys. So for this day, Coyote Works out. I'll see y'all in the morning for coffee.
Wow, guys, that sunrise out there is just absolutely beautiful. It's amazingly clear, and you can still see the moon up there high in the sky. Just a little bit of a haze from the smoke in the air from the wildfires. Just beautiful. Looks like Austin's over there moving around, so Gonna wander over there, maybe make a hot cup of coffee and start the day.
You want some strips of bacon?
I'll always eat bacon. Cooking up some breakfast and we'll figure out our plan for the day.
So it's kind of like trying to find the balance of being prepared but not carry everything.
Right,
So
right. It's not challenging to carry the minimal amount of gear that you need to have a comfortable, you know, overnight or a couple of night camp trip. What's challenging is to carry the right combination of gear to deal with whatever contingencies might come up.
What could go wrong?
So I'm having one of my standby traditional easy go-to breakfasts out here, and that is just some oatmeal and some sausage links. I like oatmeal. Obviously it's simple and easy to cook, but doesn't have a high protein content. So I like the combination of the oatmeal and the sausage links. I feel like between the two of them it actually sticks with me a while.
Do you like maple sausage or?
I do. Yeah, love the maple sausage. Well, we just finished up breakfast, and Austin, you got some irons in the fire, huh?
Yeah, so I'm working on a company of my own called Rado Outdoors. I'm developing these survival packs. So I'm building a kit that is no nonsense, bulletproof gear, more targeted towards certain environments, whether it's urban, arid, wilderness, and just kind of cutting out the extra, cutting out the fluff. So there's going to be bulletproof gear in it, and then also being able to use resources like on my YouTube channel and be able to see how the gear is used, some tips, some tricks.
How do people find you while you're kind of still going through the process of getting everything together and off the ground?
Yeah, so I have an Instagram, Rado Outdoors. You can also find me on YouTube. You can follow me, RAIDHO_outdoors on Instagram, and you can kind of track me along and see how my progress is going.
All right, guys, well, we had a good breakfast, and we've just been kind of sitting around visiting, shot some video, and I think next, what do you think? Should we start buttoning stuff up and hit the trail, do some more exploring? I agree.
Let's hit it.
All right, so we're just going to pack up our stuff and then see if we can't find a couple more cool historic spots before the end of the day.
Let's roll.
All right, guys, so I'm going to stow away the rooftop tent really quick, and this is going to be a cinch. Basically, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse the ladder, and I'm going to put it up inside the tent. All of my bedding, my sleeping bag, everything like that just stays inside the tent. So I'll toss the ladder up in there, and then we'll collapse it. Once the ladder's collapsed, I'll just reach up here. I'll pull down this side first, and then I'll go around and I'll get the other side. When I come around to this side, I've got this strap right here that I can use to pull down the tent. Now I'll just tuck the strap up inside there and go around and buckle all the latches. All right, I think we got everything packed up. Austin, you all packed?
All packed, ready to go.
All right, so we're gonna hit the trail and see if we can't find some more cool places.
Yeah.
I'll roll out, head up the road past your tracks, and then wait for you to pull in behind me.
Okay, copy that. I'll pull up behind you.
Sounds good, man. Do a radio check. We're gonna head a little ways further down this trail, and then hopefully we'll come into an area where there's gonna be some native artifacts. So we'll do some walking around and see what we can find there. Had another area, just these are some of the hugest juniper trees. So cool back in here. we're back in walking through this stand of old growth juniper, and we're pretty sure that there was something going on in here. It seemed like a good spot. And sure enough, back in here, we've discovered these old stumps. There's one right there. And this one's really unique because there's the stump and then also the tree that was cut down off the stump. So we haven't found any evidence of a camp or anything like that, but probably they were coming up in here because this is one of the few stands of big timber. They were probably harvesting timber either to use for building their homesteads, or maybe for building fences, or for using for firewood. Those are the typical things, either building materials or firewood. And look at this right here. See that? That was cut. Probably with an axe. All right, I just wanted to do a quick little clip and show you guys why it's extremely important to get out and walk around. So Austin and I are taking a little walk out here, and if you look around, like clearly it just looks like barren and desolate, like there wouldn't be anything out here. But come on, I'm going to show you guys something that is probably going to blow you away. Foundation of an old homestead.
Wow. Dang, and it's like just in the middle of...
This just goes to show you actually would never see this until you were literally right on top of it. So without getting out and walking around, and this is only maybe 120 yards from a little 2-track desert road, but you would never have any idea it's even here from there.
Looks like the top of a old barrel. You can see the edges. Looks like somebody tried to cut it off the top, repurpose it, make a frisbee. You never know.
Oh, I bet that was it. Yeah, I think out here was the origin of frisbee golf.
Yeah, I imagine they had pretty bloody hands.
Mm-hmm. That last stop ended up being a pretty nice high note to end the trip on. I feel like there's always a theme that kind of emerges from the trips that I spend out there. And the theme of this one is definitely that there is an incredible amount of history scattered out there across the high desert, even in some of the most barren and desolate looking places. They say that by shortly after 1900, in that area we were in, there was a homestead on every single 320-acre parcel of land. Austin and I had traversed roughly 70 miles or so of that backcountry out there, and literally every place we stopped, we saw the evidence of that history. I hope y'all enjoyed joining us for the adventure. I know we sure enjoyed having you along. And as always, I appreciate the support and look forward to your questions and comments. And I hope you guys are getting out to have some adventures of your own. I'll look forward to seeing y'all on the next one. And until then, Coyote Works, out.